Good morning. This is DadSchooled podcast. I'm Josh. That's Jimmy. Good morning. We are not supposed to be
Monday.
on. Yeah, it's Monday. What happened, Jimmy? I'm gonna let you tell the class about this one.
Life changes.
Great description. Tell us all the details. Thank you, Jimmy.
Work schedules adjust and sometimes come at you quick, and it's a good thing. But Wednesdays are a no-go. So
I want to say congratulations to you.
Mondays are a go.
Congratulations to you for the new job roles. So that's good. Or new job schedule.
It's the extra hours. That's my new role.
It's better than the opposite of like, oh no, you lost your job.
Right. Yeah. It's always good when they come to you and say, yeah, we've got a couple people that we could choose to have here, but we want you to be the one that's here. So that feels nice.
They Pokemon Go choose you, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy, I choose you. They throw a ball at you. Okay. Anyway, that's enough of
happens.
that. Yeah. So we're on Mondays from now on going forward. Mondays at 7 a.m. Central until that changes again. But for now, I think we're going to be okay. This is our first Monday kickoff. This Wednesday, if you're online, you will not see us live. You will catch reruns probably. But that's where we're at. What are we doing? Oh, okay. Busy. This past week has been a blur. Actually, we had the celebration of, how do you say that? People working. Not Memorial Day. What is the other one? Labor Day.
Labor Day.
Yeah. So it's the time of year where you go to a restaurant because you're off of work, and you look at someone working and you feel bad for them working about a day that they're supposed to be off. So I don't know.
I didn't mind it when I was in the service industry. Is the fancy way of saying I used to work at Starbucks. Tips were always good on Labor Day. People were, at least back then. I don't know how people are doing with. Everyone asks for tips these days. Yeah. So I think everyone's getting a little tipped out. But yeah, like 15 years ago, Labor Day was a good day to show up and serve people.
You say 15 years ago?
It's probably even longer than that.
Man, 20. You're getting old or up there in years when you start using phrases like 15 years ago. I remember this.
I started there 20 years ago. So how about that?
Oh man. Woo, okay. So yeah, that's okay. So recap: our kids are all in school now, right? Everyone has gone past that hurdle. We did an episode on it actually, so check out last week's episod, and probably the banger before that too. Yeah, it was just as good as all the other ones. Sports. We are full swing into sports now. Like we are in like my kids aren't like big, huge sports people. Like my youngest does club soccer now, first time. He's doing really well in it. Got some things to work on. I have to get the coach's number and talk to him about a couple things because I feel like I could do a little more extra at home here. I feel compelled to do more. I should say that. I want to make sure that he does good. Other kids are just in volleyball. It's with the YMCA, so it's kind of year round anyways with that one. It's indoor. But yeah, we are full schedule on the weekends, full of take people to sports. So it's great. How about you? Are you in sports mode yet?
Sports mode has yet to arrive at this home at all.
Okay, so dance mode.
We did have a soccer experience last year that might come back.
Okay.
This next spring, but yeah.
So your youngest or your oldest?
For the youngest.
The youngest, okay.
It's dance season. So after this, it's grab the youngest and she goes to drama class, and then it's just whirlwind of other studies during the day. But then we also have oldest dance class tonight. While oldest is at dance class, I take youngest to American Heritage Girls tonight. Yes. So it's the dad taxi day.
Yeah, it's the season.
Mondays are my weird day because I get to start with you, and then drive the girls all over the place. So yeah.
Mondays used to be busy for me too, but I think like 2 years ago we had a crazy used to do BSF Bible Study Fellowship, and that was intense because that was like 6:30 to 8:30 or 6:30 to 8. We were at church, and then we had soccer practice and silks practice right before that. So it was like wife and I would split. She'd go do soccer, and I'd take the girls to
Yeah.
silk. I have an oldest son with me. That was actually nice because that's when Chick-fil-A had the jalapeno pimento cheese sandwich, chicken cheese
That was
sandwich, and it was like honey and jalapeno and pimento cheese sauce on it. My son would and I, oldest son, would drop the girls off at Silks, and we run over to Chick-fil-A real fast, and we sit down and we get our sandwiches. He had one too, and we both just like, oh, so good. And then we pick the girls up and we get them something quick from the drive-through, and then go to church. But that ended. I enjoyed that.
Might be a good time. Might be a good time to let everyone know our first sponsor is Chick-fil-A.
I wish. That'd be awesome. When that happens, you will see a Chick-fil-A shirt on. You will see anything Chick-fil-A related around me here. We'll
be all over.
All over.
But hey, Chick-fil-A, if you're out there, I know you're watching. Just reach out.
There's two godly men here that would love to sponsor.
I'll eat your breakfast burrito live on air every week.
Just be a close up of you chewing a Chick-fil-A sandwich.
That's the new format. It's just us eating Chick-fil-A.
ASMR.
No.
Yeah, we would have all of our two subscribers unsubscribe. Okay. So moving forward, let's see. We're gonna change the tone a little bit here. It's also been as busy as a week as last week has been. It's also been a pretty somber and sad week. Last week, my pastor that actually baptized me was a pretty integral part of my salvation story. Passed away. He had a lot of health issues for a very long time, and I would say against all odds and all predictions the doctors gave him, he had many of years more than they expected. So it was great that he had time with his family. It was a joy to know him while I knew him, but it was a tough week last week because we had to say bye, and that enters into another topic that we have never talked about here before. We've talked about fun dads, we talked about angry dads, we talked about dads that do dumb things, but now we got to talk about sad dads because that's part of life. And as much as we don't want to think about it, someday us as dads, we have to, be in the seat of dealing with sadness and loss. No one likes it. I don't think anybody likes it, but it's a rough time to go through. So how do you, as a dad? Okay, I'm going to start this by saying I'm not an expert and Jimmy's not an expert. We should start every show by saying that we're not experts, but here's our opinions.
I am not a financial advisor.
Yeah, do not listen to me on financial advice. But grief is an odd duck, right? Grief, everyone deals with grief differently. Some people have to laugh through it. Some people have to cry through it. Some people can't stop crying through it. Some people are just normal and it hits them later at weird times. It just sneaks up on you out of nowhere. Certain memories or things that pop up will trigger, different grief responses. And I don't think it's, and this is, Jimmy, maybe you have better expert advice on this, but I don't think it's healthy to suppress grief or try to actively suppress it. Is it? Like, you should just let someone grieve, right?
There's a different way.
Yeah. My whole life I've been suppressing grief.
No, I know. Sorry, you're trying to set me up for going deep there for a second, and I whiff and just fell off. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my wife. It's brought up on the show a couple of times. My wife's a therapist, so
that's what I was hinting at. Go ahead, Jimmy.
There we go. Yeah. And I studied psychology as well as my minor in college. So I'm interested in brain things. But no, grief is absolutely, like you said, it's something that hits everyone a little bit different. And yeah, absolutely. You can have the most random trigger can just hit you out of nowhere. You look over across the room and you see, you know, maybe a small trinket that person gave you, or you know, if you're experiencing a loss, or drive by a restaurant that you had coffee, and you know, it could just randomly just hit you like, oh my goodness, that, you know, I miss that person, or struggling in a certain way. But grief is absolutely a component of life, and it's not something to be shy about or to be ashamed of. Especially as men, we end up being, I think, taught um, inadvertently a lot of times. Maybe a lot of us was directly taught, like, hey, you're not supposed to have feelings. Real men don't cry or feel any emotion. There's a just stoicism, and being, you know, stone faced is how some men are brought up. And then you might have that moment in your life where it all just kind of bubbles out and it catches you off guard, because you're like, where is this coming from? And it's something that is okay to be explored and experienced, and don't be afraid of it. It's okay.
Absolutely. And like everything on this show, like, it's all about dads. So to be defined as a dad, you have to have a kid. Either a kid that you genetically helped assimilate, or that you care for. Because I fully support adopted dads as well. You're just as much a dad to that kid as any other person in their lives. So it's important that you understand with everything you do, just like when you're having fun, when you're being mad, when you're being stupid, when you're being called out, and you're to be humble. Your grief and your sadness is also looked at by your kids when you experience it, and they will remember that. They will see how you handle it, and it may or may not be the right way. That's not the point here. But the point is, you have to be conscious of that. And I know you're hurting whenever something in your life hits hard enough to make you consider crying. Um, but it's important that you understand your kids need to see that. Like, you shouldn't be mad at your kids because they're around you and you're sad. You shouldn't be embarrassed about that. Um, your kids need to see it. You need to see how you handle it, because you're teaching them how to handle things. And there's no good book on how to handle grief, but if they understand it's okay to cry about, someone's passing, it's okay. You should show them that. You should tell them that, and you should, the best talks don't have to happen right in the middle of the funeral. You can talk to them about it on the ride to there or ride home. At home, privately, whenever. Take them to the side room. There's always time to talk to your kids about things, but it's important you attack this head on and you handle it instead of leaving it unsaid. I mean, maybe just modeling it correctly would be good enough unsaid. I don't know. It's a tricky one, because there's no good way to grieve. There's no good way to handle things.
Grief can come at you in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be the loss of a loved one. It could be a change in job,
a loss of a good friend, a best friend changes. You just drift apart and you realize. I've experienced that recently as well. Have good friends I've known for 20 plus years. I just don't even talk to them anymore. And every now and then you're sitting there thinking, and you're like, oh, I used to do that with that guy. That stinks. I don't do that anymore. And you feel sad.
Yeah. If the only time your child sees you expressing emotion is when your team is losing their game, on TV, and they see you shouting, and like that's their experience of dad has emotion, you might want to explore that just a little bit more, and it's okay to do that.
Yeah. And okay, so another interesting point here is the Bible, because we attempt at all crossroads of our lives to remember that we are godly men. We don't always uphold that, but we try, and it's it's an ongoing struggle. But looking at the Bible, I was just curious. Hey, what does the Bible say about grief? And you know what? The Bible says a lot about grief. There are well over 200 passages in my quick research here. Well over 200 passages that directly touch on grief, loss, mourning, and comforting those who have lost. Just some interesting, high visibility people. Genesis 23:2. Abraham mourns for Sarah when he lost her. 2 Samuel 12, 16 through 23. David grieves the loss of his child. John 11, 33 through 35. Jesus weeps at Lazarus' death. I think that isn't that the shortest verse in the Bible?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
Jesus wept.
those of us who like grew up in a church or a pastor's kid like me, the first verse that you memorize is John 3:16. The second verse that you memorize is I memorized a whole Bible verse. Yeah, John 11:35. Jesus wept. I got it. I'm a good church kid. Yay.
Yeah. Church answer 101. And then I shouldn't have picked this word. I always have trouble saying this one. First Thessalonians. There we go.
You got it.
4:13. Paul comforts believers about those who have fallen asleep. Okay, and that's in quotes. Fallen asleep, meaning they died. So yeah, the Bible talks directly about grief and loss, and I encourage those going through grief and loss to definitely find comfort in reading God's word. That is 100% the way to go. You should always look through this world in a lens of God's word. Biblical worldview, it's called. So, how does Josh and Jimmy turn the conversation after this? What is the next? What can be better than talking about grief first off in the morning, right? Oh, okay. So here's something else. Transition time. There were sports this weekend. Okay, my kids, my oldest had a volleyball game. My youngest had a soccer game. His first soccer game with his team, actually. He did play on Saturday, late in the afternoon. He got called up as an extra because the team above him actually needed an extra person, so he was able to jump on with them, and it was interesting. It was first time playing 7v7 with goalies, so it was intense. But yesterday was his first actual game with his team. And the soccer parks that by us, the one that we went to, they're really packed in there. Like there's field, and there's parents back to back facing the fields. Like they're back to back on their bleacher chairs. So we didn't only get to experience our team, we had to experience the opposing team for us, and then the other two teams behind us. We had to experience their parents and all their glory. And this falls in line with your kids are watching you no matter what you do. At both of these events, my older son's volleyball and my younger son's soccer, there were incidents of parents yelling out. And I mean, some people who are really into sports are like, oh yeah, it happens all the time. Let's just say in the volleyball incident, there was a parent yelling at the opposing coach, and it was not like a quiet yelling. It was a very loud yelling of calling out of rules and how I think the phrase "your team should just forfeit" came out, and then it got into a shouting match, and it was like the other coach was trying to get the refs to kick this person off out of the game. It was intense and awkward, and I felt
pretty early in the season to be that critical of
game one.
Kids learning something new.
Within 2 minutes of the game starting, this happened, and it all happened because one of the people on our team serving, like, and these courts, and this is YMCA, right? This is not like professional, crazy, high dollar sport here. It's just YMCA.
Professional.
I mean, you got paid to play, I guess, but still, their courts are set up so you have like 3 feet outside the bounds before the wall happens, and it's like some kids need a little bit of a run up when they serve. So our kids stepped on, not my kid, but one of our team's kids stepped on the blue line. Heaven forbid, when they served. They stepped on the blue line. They served overhand. And that's not allowed, okay? They served 4 times, and it was a middle of their side, the ball hit in the middle of it. It wasn't like the very far extreme edges. It was a girl serving. Not saying girls serve lighter than guys. I know some girls that have some rocket arms on them. This was not a hard serve. It was an easy to return serve. And her team missed it 4 times. Like, it was pathetically sad, missing 4 times. The coach was getting mad, and then she was like, she stepped on the line, blah 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 blah, disqualified, blah 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 blah. And it was just a shouting match. And was she wrong? Technically, no. Could there be a little leeway? Technically, yes, because like both sides were doing things that were kind of weird too. I felt bad for the ref. Okay, this ref was not the normal ref. He was a new ref. just freshly trained, and he did not have all the confidence in the world yet. So it was awkward because he didn't know how to deal with it. He had to go get his manager or the head athletics person at the Y, and there was a delay in game about 10 minutes as this happened, and it was just like parents were getting agitated and shouting at each other, and it was that was and I felt bad for the girl. Her dad's doing this, and she's like, "Stop it, stop it." So yeah, we ended up winning. Thank goodness. It would have been really embarrassing if we did not win that game. It was close. It was close down to the wire. They won. We won the first one. They won the second one, and it was a playoff on the third, and it was like 10 to 15 or something closer than we wanted it to be. Anywho, all that to be said, that was an experience. It's kind of like the dad call out section we have here. I wanted to call out that dad saying, "Good job sticking up for your daughter, but maybe tone it back and not antagonize the other team, tell them they should probably forfeit." That was probably the line you crossed when you shouted that.
Yeah.
Up until then, I had your back. But then you're like, your team should forfeit. It's like, nah, they really shouldn't. Maybe you should be quiet. Likewise, sorry to just take the whole spotlight here, Jimmy, but I'm going to continue forward. Likewise, the soccer game, it wasn't our side, but it was the side behind us. And the parents were getting on like, "Did you see that ref?" And they're chiding the ref. And there was a part of the game where the ref stopped the game, walked over to the sideline, and addressed all the parents. And this was an older guy, and I applaud him for doing this. And the parents kind of shut up after he did this, but he was like, "You guys need to be quiet. We're doing a game out here. This is for you to watch. This is not for you to participate in. You're not playing this game. I get it. You have sons in this game that are playing, and you can cheer them on for sure. I would leave the coaching to your coach and leave the reffing to me, because that's why we're here. And if you disagree with that, then there's avenues you can go, and you can address that outside of right now." And then some of the parents were like, "I wasn't talking to you," and it's like, "Well, I'm talking to you." And it got really awkward. And yeah, I was like doing one of these. My game's this way. Just have behind me. I'm like, and Sarah's like, "Don't." So it was great. It was really great. So that reminded me also. You know what? Refs are human. As much as some people don't believe this, refs can make a good call. They can, and they are capable of making bad calls. We all know that. But we have to model sportsmanship for our kids. We have to model how a dad should act. And if your opinion of a dad acting correctly at a game is shouting and cursing at the ref, maybe you should reevaluate your life or something.
Yeah. My experience with team sports, because it's not something I've run into as a dad, but I didn't play team sports growing up, but I did get my senior year in college the job as intramurals director for our school. So all student intramurals, I was in charge of it for a year, which was a great job. And because that was my field of study was recreation, doing recreational things. But to be fair, my version of recreation that I was interested in and spent all my time in was like hiking, backpacking, rock climbing, adventure stuff, outdoorsy things. And but I still got the job as intramurals director, and so then I'm responsible for hiring and training, but then also doing a fair bit of reffing, soccer, flag football, volleyball, ultimate frisbee, kickball. Like kickball and ultimate frisbee, I had no problem on those. But yeah, soccer and volleyball, I'm like, I don't know what's going on, and they're yelling at me, "Blow the whistle!" I'm like, why?
Like, you blow the whistle.
Yeah, I'm like, here, yeah, you have the whistle. But yeah, no, it was absolutely a introduction to the insanity of people when it comes to sports. And I can imagine a few of the acquaintances that I had in college, possibly being that parent that you saw on the sideline, because I got to experience them in all their full glory as a college student. And even there's occasionally we'll run into someone and be like, oh yeah, I went to the same school as you. Do you happen to know so-and-so? And like, it'll come like, yeah, no, not a good person. Like, at least my experience of that person, I didn't care for them. I know who they are when the rubber hits the road. But
also, I think an important thing to call out in here is the 3 different sounds a whistle can make. 3 different sounds of whistle. When a whistle is underblown, it's like the weak.
It just sounds like,
yeah, and then you have the strong, tweet of the whistle, like beep, actual beep. Then you have the overblower, and that's who we had at the volleyball. It was like the initial tweet, but then an extra like on top of it. It was so annoying sounding and overly loud. And I think it came from a area of stress from that inexperienced ref. But yeah, I felt bad for him, but it was super annoying. He was like bleep each time. It's like, dude, calm down.
Took their frustration out on the
that whistle. Yeah, and then you know what?
That poor whistle.
Being a sports dad now, a sports kids dad, we've experienced some odd things too. We've had refs with no whistles. We've had refs with the electronic whistle. Have you seen those? It's a little batter operated.
No.
Beep. Yes. It's like, really? You couldn't take the extra? I don't know. Like, is it a policy they don't want to provide whistles, so they want to spend $20 or more on an electronic whistle? I don't know. That was annoying. And they won't even charge all the way, so it's not pathetic. So, yeah, whistles is another topic for another day, maybe. So what does all this mean with dads? Like,
so for dads,
whistles. No, this ties in the sports dads, the grief. It all ties in the same theme. Your kids are watching you, no matter what you do, right? No matter who wins the game, no matter how many points one side has over the other, or who loses the game, your kids are going to remember you being a complete jerk on the sidelines a lot longer than they remember winning or losing a game or playing sports. They'll remember that one time your dad embarrassed them or themselves or acted a certain way, or they'll just label you as that kind of dad in the future. And is that something you want? Is that the legacy you want? That this whole like experiencing grief this past week always makes you think about yourself. You turn the lens inward on yourself, and you're like, how am I doing as a person, as a human being? Everyone thinks it at a funeral. What's mine going to look like? Who's going to be at mine? Now, that's not important per se, but you think about it, and maybe it should be a little bit of a wake-up call if you're doing the wrong things. Maybe, are you doing things in your life right now as a dad that you're proud of? And if you're not, what are people going to say about you doing those things when you're dead, when you're gone, when they're grieving and they're sad? Are they going to be around whatever meeting point or place, and they're going to be thinking about, oh man, remember he used to do this, or the unspoken thing that he used to do? I don't think you want that. So I think this is a great time, a great reminder for all of us dads to reevaluate how we're acting, how we're treating people, what we're doing, what the focus of our lives are, what the purpose of being a dad is, to lead our families, to raise a better version of ourselves at the very, very bare bones minimum, right? Everyone has the desire for their kids to be better than them. That means not doing the things that you do that you don't like you do, or that you know are wrong but still do. I think it's important that we, as dads, strive to better ourselves for our kids' sake.
Yeah, I mean, that word that stands out to me is just legacy. It's the what's being left behind after your time has run its course. It's not about the inheritance that your kids are going to get, the amount of toys. I mean, we hear this preached often, or you can't take it with you, and it's not about who has the most toys wins, or that sort of stuff. And it almost starts to become cliche, but man, it's absolutely true. It's the character that you developed in the generation that follows after you, whether it's your own kids or other kids in your community, and the legacy that you leave behind, the change the positive impact that you had in your family, in your community, and those that you had regular interaction with. Like that's what's lasting, and that's what matters. And you pray that when it's your time that everyone's gathered to say their goodbye, that the legacy they remember for you is someone who positively changed their life. And
Right.
Yeah, it sounds like you had that when you had to go to that celebration of life for your old pastor this last week.
Yes, absolutely. That's the thing. Like, people, yes, he was a pastor, so I was like attached to his role and title. But you heard a lot more stories from people. You heard from his best friend. We heard a moving speech from him, how it was his good friend, and that he'll look forward to sitting with him on a park bench in the future again. It's just like things that get you. Really, you're thinking about like, am I a friend to somebody who wants to sit with me on a park bench? It's not all about you all the time, but you apply things people say to yourself all the time. You put yourself up
Mm-hmm.
against as a standard. Like I'm not a pastor. I don't think my role in this world is being a pastor, but it doesn't mean I can't be a godly man. And that's what I want to be known as. I want to be known as a godly man, uh, a good father, someone who, yes, they can laugh and joke about my mistakes I've made, but they also can talk about, how I came back from those mistakes. I think we've all experienced that in some kind of motivational speech of like, your kids might say you're a good dad, but they're all like, you weren't the best dad, but you're really good at apologizing. It's like, that's kind of what I mean, but I don't necessarily always want to be known as an apologizer. But at least you're a humble enough person not to be a jerk, and people are like, "Man, he was a hard person to be around." Like, that's not what I want. You know, I'd
Yeah.
rather have like I touched enough people's lives, I made a difference. I want to make a
Mm-hmm.
difference in someone else's life in a positive way, not like I'm the reason why. There's this rule at this facility. I'm the reason why you can no longer do this at this place, or I'm the reason why my kids absolutely won't do this when they get older because I wouldn't let them do it, and I was a terrible dad, and whatever. Not that not letting your kids do things makes you a terrible dad, but you get the point. Like, you don't want to be known for the bad things.
Yeah, and that key that I've mentioned a few times before, it's just about being authentic.
Yeah,
Authenticity is something that absolutely uh, so many of us are starved of these days. We interact so much of our personal interaction is through our electronic devices.
yes,
Everything that's online goes through a filter. Even watching people making selfie videos on TikTok, they've got a filter that makes them look more pretty. Like nothing is as authentic as it should be, if that's the only realm that we're experiencing each other. And then a lot of that ends up spilling into real life, uh, where we end up chasing what we think the world is telling us. This is what's important. When you're scrolling through and it's like, this is what you should strive for, then we end up thinking like that's what I need to be chasing after, all the worldly pleasures and everything. And so then our authentic selves get pushed down. So figuring out how you can be that person for yourself and for others, is so important.
so our challenge for our listeners this week, all the dads out there, or moms if you're listening to, we like moms, but dads are are what this is really hopefully going to affect. Think about your legacy. Think about who you are. Don't think about like long term, because you can affect that legacy in small ways right now. Even the small moments make a difference. And we've said this countless times. Being present. Like, not ever once have I been to a funeral that was someone celebrating someone's life, or not even just funerals, anything at all. I've never heard someone being excited that someone was not around, unless that person was a terrible person. That's an exception maybe, but like most of the time, like in order to recognize for doing something, in order to be recognized as doing a good job, you have to be there. You have to show up. And so, step one, be there, show up for your family, do something with your family. But then how do what are you doing today to make sure your legacy in the future is how you want it to be? Are you being a godly man? Are you encouraging your kids? Are you modeling to them how to react to unfortunate sports incidents? You know, how are you teaching your kids for the future? And that's another thing. There is a person on the field, a player with, I didn't even speak to this earlier. I probably shouldn't, but there was a kid on the team that was being really bossy, like telling everyone on their team how great of a job they're not doing and how they should be on this other part of the field. They should be doing this.
Lovely.
Why aren't you doing this? Do this. And it's just like, okay, I get it. Maybe that kid's an expert in the sport. I'm not sure. I'm not an expert, but maybe you can be a little more team oriented instead of bossy oriented. Because I told my wife this in the sidelines. I said, you know, that kid right there is the kind of kid I never pass the ball to when I have the opportunity. I will kick it out of bounds and I will screw our team up before I give him the ball, just out of pure spite, because I don't like being yelled at by my own team. There's like encouragement and like, hey, Josh, you missed that. Like, yeah, I get it. I'm sorry. But to hound on people over and over again, and these kids are 6. Give me a break. It's not like we're in the NFL here or anything, or the NSL, National, is there NSL, National Soccer League? I don't know.
And
there's some kind of league.
MLS, Major League Soccer. There it is. I knew it was
Major League MLS. Yeah, we're not in the MLS here.
There we go.
But seriously, so if you're a dad and you see your kid doing that, maybe he's modeling you being bossy. Maybe you should tell him that you're sorry for being bossy like that and being negative Nelly, and you should help. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent again.
I was going to say we can open a whole can of worms on proper leadership styles.
I know.
And all that sort of stuff.
That'll be next week's episode.
Proper leadership. We need to save that for later.
I'll put that in my pocket, and we'll come back to that one. Anyways,
perfect.
What you do matters. That's the whole point I'm making. Make a difference today. Your legacy matters, and it should matter to you. You shouldn't be like, oh, I'm a worthless sack of potatoes. It doesn't matter. No, you matter to somebody. Make a difference. Make it your goal to make someone's day better. How's that for a challenge? Also, let's see. Yeah. If you like this episode, like, subscribe, pass along, go to dadschoolpodcast.com, drop us a line. You might be entertained to see us talk about your topic. If you have a topic suggestion, you can drop it there as well. So
yeah,
closing
comment. Thought. We'll enter you into the raffle.
Oh yes, the raffle. Guaranteed winning if you enter this raffle. Yes, guaranteed winning. Reminder to listeners: Mondays from now on, going forward. Mondays, 7 Central, 7-ish. We try. And it's mostly my fault because I'm the one who gets here right at 7. I'm like, hey, Jimmy, how you doing? I talk forever, and he's like, come on, Josh, let's start the show. I'm like, I just want to talk. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same.
Yeah. But yeah, so 7 a.m. Mondays, not Wednesdays anymore. Feel free to, you should watch our episodes on Wednesday and then just share them to your friends on Wednesday. How's that? We'll do Wednesday shares.
Hey.
And maybe I'll be better about posting things on social media too this week. I'll try that out.
Sounds good.
But any closing thoughts, Jimmy?
Be good to each other.
Be good to each other. You heard it right here. Dad School Podcast. Be good to each other. See you next week.